Sally Ponzio lost her 26-year-old son, Travis Stewart, to overdose in 2016. 6 months later, she says she had a visitation from him while driving in her car, and the words to the song, Remember Me, simply came to her. This podcast is about how that song is now touching the lives of many. On this podcast, my guests are Sally Ponzio, her music composer brother, Frank Ponzio, and singer-songwriter Eleanor Dubinsky. Together, they helped make Remember Me a reality. Well, I really want to thank Sally and Frank and Eleanor for joining me today. Sally, what I'd like to start off with is talking about Travis. You lost Travis at the age of 26 to overdose. Tell me a little bit about him.
You know, I was a little nervous about this question because it's so hard to do somebody justice. And I'm sure you get this with your daughter, Emily. It's very hard to talk about and do them justice in a couple of minutes, but I'll try to not leave something out as far as his personality went. But Travis was a communicator. Travis loved to communicate and he liked to manipulate. And he was good at it. He used words. He was advanced for his age all the time. Even when he was a young boy, he didn't start talking until he could talk in complete sentences. And he was playing chess with you all the time. That's how smart he was. So if you thought you were having a conversation and if you were trying to make a point, he already knew 3 steps ahead where he wanted you to go and what was going to happen and how the outcome was going to be. Just a very, very smart boy. But he also had a big heart that went along with it. He always, if somebody at school was being bullied, Travis was tall and bigger size for his age, so he would step in. That would get him in a lot of trouble. Sometimes he didn't do it like the school would have liked him to. So he found himself in a little turmoil during the teenage years, but he always knew how to make money, and he would sell things. Before vaping started, he was buying vapes from doing things on eBay and selling things on eBay, and vapes was one of them, and then the shops opened up. But he always was finding an angle, and he always knew how to make money. He always was ambitious. He was fun and funny. If he walked into the room lit up with his personality. He loved animals. I could go on and on about him, but it's hard to explain somebody.
And he was musical.
Well, that was the big thing, is Travis was great at communicating. And the way he communicated a lot of times was through music. So he always listened to music. He didn't play music except for younger when he played a violin. But he would talk in words that he heard from a song. So he knew all the words. He didn't just know the songs. He knew the meaning behind the songs, why the person wrote the songs. And I used to always kid him and say, write a song. I mean, you're so good at this. Write a song, And it was just something we kidded about a lot.
Now, you lost Travis in 2016, a couple of years before I lost my Emily. And I imagine even at that time, I think the stigma is still with us, and we're still working hard on that. But in 2016, I imagine it was even worse.
It was. And when Travis realized at one point, he always thought he had control over his addictions or his disease. But at some point he realized he didn't. And that was very hard for him because he was in control all the time. But he did not want people to know, family, friends, or anybody really to know that he had an issue because of the stigma. And of course, when he died, there was the whole issue of the stigma too. But I thank you and other foundations like yours and organizations who have done so much to address that stigma.
Well, we're working on it. And that is one thing I want to start talking about, the song. I've listened to the song a couple of times and I can't help but tear up. Remember Me. And it came about in such a amazing, unique way. and everybody kind of came together. You had these connections. Sally, your brother Frank is, a composer and and a pianist and all of these things. And then he knows people in the industry. He knows Eleanor. But let's get to the start of it. So this is 6 months. This is still in 2016.
It's still in 2016. It's in December. And I'm going to meet a friend in Disney. So I lived in Venice, Florida, and I was going to Orlando. And I'm sure you understand, Angela, that during this time period, you don't want to be alone much or in your head too much, because it's a very tough time to be alone. And so it was my first time really alone in a car ride for, 2.5, 3 hours. And it was tough to be with myself. So I was just driving, and all of a sudden, I felt a presence. I felt words coming to me. And I always travel with food and stuff, so I had napkins next to me. And I can't even explain it until I realized that it was my son. I cannot rhyme anything together, so I knew it wasn't me. And he was giving me words.
I started writing the words that you were saying on a napkin in my car. I had to pull over. I'll never get over. Now that you're gone.
I pulled over, as the song says, and I started writing the words down on that napkin. And that is actually a picture of the napkin that we use in the song, in the video. And I just started scribbling words, and he was changing them and putting them back. And you can see in one of them, I'm making an arrow, move this here. And it was the best ride of my life. I mean, spending 3 hours in the car with him. I didn't even want to stop to have to go to the bathroom because I thought I would lose him. I came back and we got to talk even more. And he explained it. He explained his disease. He told me I lost him a long time ago.
Well, that lyric by itself hit me, and I think any parent or anybody who's had a loved one struggle from addiction, because I did feel like there was a point a couple of years before my daughter died where I felt like I've lost my daughter, like she's died. She's still walking around, but where is she? She's not there. And I think almost anybody who's has had that experience, right? We lose them before we lose them.
Yes. They're actually gone and you just can't get to them.
Yeah.
Gone for years before you went away. I tried so hard to reach you. You couldn't stay.
But during that time ride, he gave me all these words and they provided comfort for me. I got to Florida and met a friend. I got to Disney, met a friend, and told her about the ride. And I thought she would think I was crazy. But she was very open about my situation and what had happened, the ride that I had. And when I drove back, I was hoping to reconnect with Travis, but it didn't happen. But I kept the napkins, and I guess it was, I don't even know the time frame after, but it wasn't too far after, that I got the same voice. And Travis was very persistent. I told you he was a good communicator. Well, he was a persistent person too. So he just kept saying, give these to your brother, give these to your brother. Let Frank.
His Uncle Frank. And Uncle Frank is with us, as I mentioned at the beginning of this. And so when Sally contacted you, which she followed through with Travis's instruction. And it doesn't matter whether people believe this or not. It just doesn't matter, right? I mean, because this is your experience, what happened, and you're not a songwriter per se. These words just came through you. And so when you heard from Sally, Frank, what did you think?
I was very surprised. I was very moved, to hear from her, in this way, and to hear the words that she had written me. I was, surprised and moved, I think would be the perfect description.
Did you see it resulting in a song?
I really wasn't sure in the beginning. I mean, I think the very first read, you're just kind of hit by the reality of of what actually took place in songwriting and all that are kind of far removed from that particular reality. As time went on, you start actually when you just kind of calm down a little bit and you start looking at the words and you start seeing them as potentially part of a song or something that inspires a song in some way. Yeah, then I started hearing some things. Remember me, fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. And you hear that sounds kind of melodic already. There's a meter to it already. You can kind of hear an underlying rhythm that's there.
Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me.
If anybody sent me something like this out of nowhere, I honestly don't know what I would do if I would do anything. There's lots of things and lots of musical ideas floating around, but when your sister sends you this and it's something, a loss that we all share, you give it more than just one look.
Right. Well, and then you had this friend, Eleanor, who, by the way, has a gorgeous voice. I mean, just beautiful, so much richness in your voice and emotion that I can hear in the song. How did you happen to approach Eleanor with it, Frank?
I don't remember it specifically, but I do remember, Sally and I talking, and I'm thinking that I've been working with Eleanor for, at this point, several years, and we've written some beautiful songs together, and it always the song is always better than either of our ideas. When we get together, something better happens, and given my personal relationship as a friend and a professional relationship as a musician, and kind of knowing where she comes from, what her sensibilities are, I thought, this would be the perfect person to bring in to this project. I think between the three of us, we have all the bases covered. We have the experience, the primary experience of Sally and the songwriting experience of Eleanor and of, like you say, her voice and her heart. I figured we could really make something here. So I contacted her, and luckily she you'll ask her, I'm sure, but she seemed open to the idea.
Did you like the song right away, Eleanor, when you had a chance to read it?
Well, I was so honored to be asked. And like Frank, the sort of heart of the message, which was fly high, fly free, remember me, just sings itself. It was very clear when we went through the language that would easily be the chorus of the song. And I think that, it really sang itself, and then telling the story around that became what we needed to do. That was our job, to tell the story around that story. And Frank has a very, spiritual connection to many things. And I think that was also in the room. And so when I heard it, or when we started working on the musical part of it, those two things merged quickly. That this was something that had to be connected to something deep and very personal, and it would be served by, I think, served by something that felt spiritual.
It was more than just a song.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for me, this process has been really about Sally. That it's such a gift to be able to be given the opportunity to help someone, her, put into another form something that is so important. And so she's so clear about what she wants to do with this song and what it means. And I think we've talked about what it's meant for her. And I don't remember, Sally, I think you maybe introduced this idea that, there's sort of the 5 stages of grief, and then there's the 6th stage. And for me, the opportunity to participate in this 6th stage, which I guess one way of putting it is, what do you do, with your grief? How do you serve something larger than yourself with what you've been through? And this was so clearly for her it's so courageous to be able to take what she's been through and then want to offer it to other people in a form of healing. So that we could be a part of that was amazing. And I've really learned over time with this song and other experiences, when you put something to music and people can sing it, it's healing.
That's beautiful. And I do think that grief can lead to growth for sure. But I don't think either Sally or I could do that alone as grieving moms. So it takes Frank and Eleanor's of the world, to come forward, because I've had the same experience, not about a song, but just about maybe an idea I had that this is how I want to do something with my daughter's death, or this is how I want to help people. And I've just had people kind of come around me and enable me to do that. Like I could have never done that on my own, which Sally couldn't have either.
No.
An interesting process, because on one hand, you have to have like half of you has to go back to where this all came from and find that. And then the other, if you will, half of you is a craftsperson, and your craft and your language happens to be musical, and you're trying to find a way to create something from that. And ultimately, I think, I think Eleanor and I both, as time went on, it became, our song. It's deeply personal and specific where it came from, but sooner or later you kind of find yourself in these songs and your own experiences in these songs. And I think that's the beauty of any art form, but certainly with a song, if you dive down deep enough in yourself and you find the music that reflects that feeling that you have, you're going to find everybody else there, and everybody else will recognize that. And that is part of what, we want with the song. We want it, of course, to be born from the actual experience and something real, that we all know the specific story, and your audience is learning more about. And we know that there's many, many, many people with this exact experience, or with something that's not exactly the same experience, but they'll be able to have the healing and the feeling and the catharsis that happens when a song touches you that deep.
That is the beauty of music. So Sally, when you first heard this for the first time,
Well, at first, Frankie sent me some music that went to some of the words, and it was just amazing, especially, and it's still in there as the beginning where he's playing the piano. So it was just him playing, and he put it to the keyboards, and he was playing, and fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. It just, it's healing. It helped me heal too. And then he added it with Eleanor, and the two of them really worked on, Eleanor sings it like this happened to her. And that was one of my concerns. If I could sing, I would sing it, but I can't. Just like I can't write. But Eleanor sings it like it happened to her. And so it's through me, through her, that she's singing, and that's how it feels.
You said, I'm alive in your broken heart. Let my love lift you. Start a new start. Fly high.
When they started putting it together, we had a great experience because we went to Joe's Pub in New York City, and I flew into New York. And at that point, they did it live for the first time in front of me. And it was powerful. The audience was taken by it. The reaction was amazing. We did not know that some of the singers had similar stories that all came out. People in the audience, we know 1 out of every 3 people are affected by addiction right now and overdosing. And people really came to us and approached us. And it was at that point that we have to keep working on this, and we have to then incorporate other instruments and more vocals. So it grew from that experience. Eleanor and Frank, would you confirm that kind of was the experience that grew the song even further?
Yes, the feedback was very positive before we heard any words from the audience afterwards, because it was at the end of the show, basically. You could feel it when we were performing it, and it was just Eleanor and I and a few backing vocalists that contributed their talents, singers from the gospel church that I play in every Sunday. And, between Eleanor's voice, the song, the message of the song, and a few gospel singers, you felt how powerful it was while we were performing it. And we say, okay, we know there's something real here, but it's actually worked its way into the art of the song, and this song needs to be developed even more. And so, yes, I would agree. I think there was that moment where, like, okay, we're going to continue with this, and not worry so much about what you might typically worry about when you're writing songs. We're going to let this song do what this song does and give it its best chance to help as many people as possible.
Eleanor, when Sally said it was like this happened to you, your voice when you're singing it, that's what I felt like. This is the singer singing this. How do you find that within yourself, or how do you channel, maybe Sally's emotions through a song?
The bottom line is empathy. I think I'm by nature an empathic person, and that's why this project appeals to me so much also, because we are feeling for each other, and I think and that's where we want to get to with the song. And so there has to be a certain kind of connection. I don't want to fake it, so I guess I want the person hearing it to feel something, and that's not a trick. I mean, it's something that has to be through the performance of the material. And one thing I've been thinking is one of the unexpected gifts of this is how that I've been able to get to know Sally, because Frank and I have known each other for several years, but now Sally and I have met each other, and we've done this project in a lot of different iterations, from starting to work on it, to performance, to the experience at Joe's Pub, to the recording, to, now talking about it in the world. And so, yeah, I mean, it's in there. That's how we wrote the song. I'll say also, that's how we wrote it. It's me being able to be Sally. For me, that was really the approach that we took. I remember at a certain point we were working on the lyrics, and we got kind of stuck, and I thought, I can't make this up. This is not my song. This is Sally's song. So we had another call with Sally to find more language for the song, because this is us telling her story in a way that we can, but without Sally, as much as the song is a more universal message and meant for a wider audience, she is the seed of this song, and it's her. And so, yeah, it's wanting to do justice to her experience. I mean, you can't get deeper than this kind of an experience. And I had to get to a place where I'm so glad that she feels this way, because it has to be that. It has to be that.
Sounds like everybody's heart was just in the right place, at the right time for this particular song. And I wonder what Travis would think of it. Has he made any more visits to you there, Sally, since all this happened? Or was that a one-time thing?
I had a few visits before it happened in my dreams, which I think most of us who have lost a loved one, we've had our dream visits, and not as clear as this visit was. But we were able to release the song on his birthday. And that would have been, I think, his 32nd birthday. And we were able to release the song, and it was just beautiful. And it was a real tribute to him on social media, and we got a great response that way. And I want to say, too, that Eleanor and Frankie, after Joe's Pub, got other people involved, other musicians and more singers, and everybody if you see the video that goes with the song, you can feel the heart that everybody put into this.
And I will include the video. I'll link to the video on our website on this podcast page as well. So if people want to watch the video, they certainly can do that. What parents and loved ones struggle with so much when we lose someone like this is, first of all, what was it all for? Like, I think we do a lot of like, why did this have to happen? And what was it all for? But also, we miss their physical presence so much. We miss the physical presence of our loved one. And to me, this song gives hope that there's more than just, this flesh and bones kind of thing. Was that intentional with the song?
And there is. And I think that was the couple times that Travis has come to me in my dreams, and this time. And we always hope that they'll come back and visit. The message was always that I'm fine, Mom. The disease is gone. I'm good. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. With the conversation Travis and I had was about both of us. He wanted me to fly, and I wanted him to fly. And so it worked both ways, the lyrics. And that's what he was telling me, that I needed to just fly high, fly free. And I needed to just remember him. Remember him happy. Remember him. Now he's free from this disease.
Frank, do you hope that this song helps people find more compassion for those struggling with addiction and for families who have suffered, from losing a loved one to overdose?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when we finish the song. There's a decision. There's many songs that we write over, and lots of music that we write. Given this is what we do all day, but like I said, this song meant a lot to all three of us at this point. We felt like we've been on a bit of a journey just producing this song. And then the question is, what do you want to do with it? It could be another song on the shelf. It could be a song and it gets a little bit of play, and that's it. And you can feel good about that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we felt this song really is a wonderful vehicle that can be used. This is even more important than the song. It can reach a lot of people, like you said, and help them through a tough time. They recognize their own situation. It can be about addiction. It could be about any loss. This has been a year of a lot of losses. You could argue any year is this way, but this year seems to be, first and foremost in most of our minds and hearts. So any kind of relief that we can give by sharing this one experience and therefore representing everybody's experience, I think it's a wonderful way to go forward. And the reason why the three of us have very consciously decided we're going to put some time and energy into getting this song out there. And if that's what it does for one person out there listening to this song, or to countless people, then I think Travis would be happy, we would be happy, and this is a good thing.
I think it's a great thing.
And he wrote a song.
Finally listened to his mother.
and if you think of the comfort and joy through his life and his death, that this song will bring people, because I think that that's one of the most frustrating things, and one of the things that I always say with the death of my own daughter, that it seems so senseless. Like, what's the point of this dumb death? She shouldn't be dead. And so by helping other people, whether that be through a charity or a podcast or a song, it takes that meaningless death and it does create meaning out of it.
Yes. And I know your daughter was an artist.
Yeah. So visual painter. Yeah.
Yeah. So through her art, and and your daughter knew, and Travis knew, that through music and art, sometimes you can touch more people than maybe you can other venues, but it just opens up the heart. And I think Eleanor and Frankie, I just can't thank them enough. And it's just an amazing song that came out of this, and it just touches the heart.
It certainly does. And we're going to let it touch your heart right now. We're going to end the podcast by playing the entire song. You've heard a little bit of it up to this point, but we're going to end it with the entire song, Remember Me. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining me today.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you.
I started writing the words that you were saying on a napkin in my car. I had to pull over. I'll never get over. Now that you're gone, you said I'm alive in your broken heart. Let my love lift you, start a new start. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. When you were born, I held you in my arms. When did your tears become ambulance alarms? Gone for years before you went away. I tried so hard to reach you, you couldn't stay. These leather seats hold me down to the earth. A child, my child, should not go first. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. His name is your name, her face is your face. My tears all these years cannot be replaced. But this song is our song, our love, our strength. We never said goodbye. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. Fly high, fly free, spread your wings, remember me. Remember me.
Thank you for joining me for this latest edition of Grieving Out Loud. If you're enjoying the podcast, please consider giving a positive review. Wishing you faith, hope, and courage.